Good morning, students. Students, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. So, students, last class we were discussing about cloud computing and introduction. So, before we begin, uh, let us revisit what we discussed. So, basically, clouds are a large pool of easily usable. This definition I am taking from a text, okay, usable and accessible virtualized resources such as hardware, development platforms, and or services. Services means here we mean infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, which we will discuss later. Okay, services. And these resources, this definition is very important. Okay, so please note down. Important, very very important. So these resources can be dynamically configured to adjust for a variable load which means we can say the scale up or scale down. Okay, so scaling up or down. Okay, scaling up or down, allowing also for an optimal resource utilization. Okay, and this pool of resources are typically exploited by a utility model. Okay, by a utility model. So by utility model we mean pay per use. Whatever you use, pay for it. Okay, utility model based on uh, you can say any customized service level agreement. Or you can say SLA. Okay, so this is a very important and powerful definition as far as the cloud computing goes. So it says that it's a large pool of easily usable and accessible virtualized resources that can be hardware, development platforms, and or services. And these resources can be dynamically configured to address for a variable load requirements. It can be the infrastructure, the services can be scaled up, scaled down, etc. allowing for an optimal resource utilization. And this pool of resources are typically exploited by a utility model, which we mean pay per use model, and based on any customized service level agreement between the service provider, cloud service provider, and the cloud service user, right? So then at the end of the last class, we discussed that we will be discussing, we said that we will be discussing service oriented architecture. Any questions, students, in this definition? Right. So, in a distributed computing scenario, the functions are used by other functions. Basically, a function, the set of functions are distributed across, okay, and functions invoke other functions by calling them, right? This is similar to the function calling that you have experienced in programming, right? One function calls other function, right? A function calls other function, but in that case you were using the functions were a part of a program, and they all were a part of a single machine. Basically, you were doing that. You are not calling the functions, or you may have called very less number of you may have done less number of programs wherein the two functions are hosted on two different machines, calling a function over the network to another function, right? How many of you have done this? You call a function from one machine to the calling to the called function which is hosted on the other machine. Have you ever tried this, students? A function on one machine, function 1, or say function 1 and function 2 are hosted on two different machines, and this calls F1 calls F2. Have you done this? Students, have you done this?
No, sir.
No. So why it is required? Why it is required? Because in a distributed scenario, the functions may be, or the processes, or the programs may be hosted on different machines, right? So there is a need for one function to call another function to accomplish the workflow, okay, or to complete the workflow. So we call this function, let us call this function as a service, okay? Let's call this as a service. Let's say this is a billing service, and let's call this is a telephone, sorry, or you will say billing, let's say payment gateway service, okay? Payment gateway service, and this is, let's say, telephone service providing company. So, and there is a user, and the user here. Okay, the user application. So you are the user. So what you do, you access the telephone service providing company's website through your HTTP transfer protocol. Okay, transfer protocol to view your bill. So user application accesses telephone service providing company to view bill. Okay, to view bill. And once he views the bill, he initiates the payment. He initiates the payment. Okay, step 1 to view, next second payment. Now when he does the payment, what happens that you must have observed that it takes you to the payment gateway. It takes you to the payment gateway. A payment gateway browser gets loaded onto your browser, and then you initiate payment. So payment gateway page, then you enter details. You enter details of your card. Okay, card. Then 4, pay the bill, and finally you get the confirmation. You get the confirmation from bank, and 6th, get the confirmation from telephone company, right? So that is how the whole process is completed. Are you getting, students? Students, are you getting?
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
so what happens? See, your telephone service providing company implements the service application in one technology, right? And your bank may be implementing its services using another technology, and you as a user may be using sorry. So these different companies, different organizations must be or may be implementing their applications using different technologies, right? So observation is that these different organizations may be implementing their services using different technologies. Do you agree with this? Students, do you agree with this? These different organizations may be implementing their services using different technologies. Do you agree with this?
Yes, sir.
How about others, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it is similar to implementing a set of functions using C. Let's suppose example a set of functions in C language and another set of functions in Java language. Can it happen? One organization is implementing its functions using C language, the other organization is implementing its set of functions in Java language, let's suppose. So during this process, one organization service is availing the services of another organization. So what is happening? The C language calls Java, and or you can say that there's an interaction between C and Java. Right, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now the organization accessing the organization which is implementing its services in Java has to know that how this function written in Java need to be invoked, right? Or the other way, the organization implementing its functions in Java need to know how the function written in C need to be invoked. So each one has to know the way to invoke the other function, right? So need to know how the functions can be invoked. Need to know how the functions can be invoked. So whose responsibility is this? So if there are hundreds of such functions, I as an invoker, do I need to know how the functions need to be invoked that I am trying to invoke? Answer is no. Then how is it possible? So the function implementer need to provide a platform independent invoking procedure so that other functions can invoke me. So it is my responsibility to provide how can I be invoked so that the invoking functions can just use the procedure to invoke directly, right? So we call these procedures, the interfaces required to invoke the functions or procedures are the interfaces. So these interfaces need to be written by the service providers, and these interfaces need to be advertised. What is it, students? The interfaces need to be written by the service providers and these interfaces need to be advertised so that the invoking procedures can invoke the required procedures, right? Is it clear, students?
Yes, sir.
So in this example, the telephone service providing company which is displaying the bill, that can be viewed as a service. Display bill can be viewed as a service. So when a user application clicks that particular service will get invoked and will show you the bill. Now when I click on the payment gateway page, then it takes me to the payment gateway page and corresponding service will be invoked, and that's how all the 6 or 7 or 10 steps will be completed by means of orchestration of services. What is it? So there is an orchestration of services in the entire process. There is an orchestration of services. There are many services, and how these services need to be invoked, in which sequence they need to be invoked, assuming that each of these services has its interfaces defined and advertised. Okay, and orchestration means the sequence in which the services need to be invoked. So this orchestration is nothing but the workflow. So according to the workflow, the services will be called and executed to complete the entire process. Fine. So this is what is the general understanding about the services, the distributed services scenario. This is the general understanding about the distributed services scenario. right? So the above discussion is about the general understanding of a distributed services scenario, right? Now, how was it happening earlier? Earlier it was happening through CORBA in a distributed computing system, right? Where the procedures are distributed. These procedures were invoked by using CORBA or DCOM model. CORBA stands for Common Object Request Broker Architecture. These services were or functions were referred to as objects, distributed objects, and there was a broker architecture which used to manage uh, invoking the remote objects. So that is based on the platform known as Common Object Request Broker Architecture or CORBA. Common Object Request Broker Architecture, CORBA. And then DCOM is the dynamic, distributed component object model. So earlier, these two were the popular platforms used to invoke the distributed procedures. But there were some problems with these two distributed mechanisms. Okay. Because of that, and I mean, they were very restrictive. They were very restrictive. So to make it generic, you can read more about it. I will share a link. Okay. So to make it generic and accessible across all the services that use a standard protocol like HTTP. Okay, standard protocol like HTTP, which is a very widely accepted protocol, which uses port 80 as a very well-known port for accessing the HTTP services. So that started using, so service-oriented architecture came into picture. Okay, service-oriented architecture came into picture to replace this demerits of CORBA and DCOM. Okay, so service-oriented architecture that came into picture to replace CORBA and DCOM like models for accessing these distributed objects or web services, right, across the platforms using standard HTTP protocol. All right. So what we discussed, we took an example of a distributed scenario where there is a need for accessing services that may have been implemented using different technologies, right? And then we understood that what is service orchestration or workflow to complete the entire process. And early days, what used to happen, how it used to happen using CORBA and DCOM, and that due to the very restrictive feature of CORBA and DCOM, the service-oriented architecture platform has emerged to meet the needs of the service orchestration, the invoking of the services in a web environment using the standard HTTP protocol. Right, students? So that is how SOA came into picture, where these distributed web objects over web are now referred to as web services. These distributed objects are nothing but as referred to distributed web services, right? So now we'll see what is service oriented architecture. Students, are you able to see this slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So how the cloud computing and service oriented architecture are related? Don't go too much about this particular slide. We will discuss the components as and when it is required. But one thing you see that here at the bottom, the cloud computing, cloud infrastructure, which is a distributed multi-site physical infrastructure, of course enabled by server virtualization. It provides platform as a service, for example, web server, application server, and cloud storage as a service, and cloud services such as service-oriented architecture via web service standards, okay, cloud applications, and cloud clients. So we can say here that SOA, service-oriented architecture, and cloud computing, they coexist. Remember the word, they coexist to support the functionality of each other. They are complementary. They are not replaceable by each other. Cloud computing cannot replace SOA, or SOA cannot replace cloud computing. They coexist as a complement to each other. So what is a service? So a service is an abstract resource that represents a capability of performing tasks that form a coherent functionality from the point of view of providers, entities, and requester entities. So for example, जैसे हमने अभी बताया थोड़ी देर पहले एक एग्जांपल में कि टेलीफोन कंपनी का बिल व्यू करके पेमेंट करना है, ठीक है। तो इसमें कई सारे 6 स्टेप्स हमने डिस्कस किया, हो सकता है इससे ज्यादा स्टेप्स भी हो उसमें, लेकिन ये जो 6 स्टेप्स है, इन 6 स्टेप्स को अगर अलग अलग सर्विसेज की तरह देखते हुए मैं अगर एक सिंगल सर्विस की तरह उसको देखूं, राइट, सो इट्स अ बिल पेमेंट सर्विस। बट इस बिल पेमेंट सर्विस के अंदर देयर आर मेनी स्मॉलर फंक्शनैलिटीज, सो आई कैन सी दिस एज ए service, single service or abstract resource, right, and that is capable of performing several tasks. बिल डिस्प्ले करना, पेमेंट गेटवे तक लेके जाना, बैंक से कनेक्ट करना, फिर बैंक से रिस्पांस लाना, फिर टेलीफोन कंपनी पे उसको अपडेट करना, ठीक है, ये सारे डेटाबेस पे अपडेट करना, ये सारे छोटे छोटे जो फंक्शंस है, दे आर नोन एज tasks, smaller tasks. So a service is an abstract resource that represents a capability of performing tasks that form a coherent functionality from the viewpoint of providers. Provider यहाँ पे कौन हो गया कि टेलीफोन सर्विस प्रोवाइडर के तरफ से बिल पेमेंट के हिसाब से देखा गया, और मैं एज ए यूजर रिक्वेस्टर मेरे लिए भी एक सिंगल एंटिटी की तरह दिखाई दिया। बट इफ यू अनरैप इट, you will see a number of smaller tasks being performed, and the combination of these smaller tasks are offered or seen for the both parties, seen by the both parties as an abstract service. Clear, students? So bill payment service can be an example, which has multiple smaller tasks. So a service is a resource and has an owner, who implements that resource. Okay, that service, who implements that service is the owner of that service. It can be provided by a person or can be the organization and must be realized by a software provider agent. It can perform one or more tasks and it is always used by a requester agent. Right? One example of service example can be a service for updating some software. जैसे कि इस तरह आता है आपका कंप्यूटर पे बार बीच में आता है कि updates are ready for your computer. So this can be a service providing agent, okay, which runs at the background and tells you this, or you can say that this is an agent. So service-oriented architecture, where the service business processes are defined as services to be consumed over a network, which we have already discussed, and it defines three roles for the agents. One is the service provider, the other is the service requester. The service requester can be the end user, or can be end user like you and me, or can be some other organization. समझ में आया बच्चों? एक तो हो गया सर्विस प्रोवाइडर जो सर्विस का ओनर है, दूसरा सर्विस रिक्वेस्टर, that can be me or you, and that can be any other organization. ठीक है, जैसे आप लोग एक makeMyTrip.com अगर देखोगे, makeMyTrip.com में आप अगर होटल बुक फ्लाइट बुक करते हो तो फ्लाइट के साथ आपका होटल का भी आता है. ठीक है, जब आप होटल पे क्लिक करते हो तो मे बी इट इज टेकिंग यू टू agoda.com और कहीं पे लेके जाता है जो होटल सर्विस प्रोवाइडर का. सो इस एग्जांपल में मेक माई ट्रिप एग्जांपल में एक तो एंड यूजर हो गए आप या मैं जो यूज करके फ्लाइट बुकिंग को हम कर रहे हैं. दूसरा एक रिकमेंडर सिस्टम होता है बिहाइंड में जो कि फ्लाइट बुकिंग एंड होटल बुकिंग को कनेक्ट करता है. तो जब होटल बुकिंग को कनेक्ट करता है तो होटल बुकिंग जो सर्विस प्रोवाइड करता है दैट बिकम्स द सर्विस रिक्वेस्टर फॉर मेक माई ट्रिप. समझ में आ गए? सो द सर्विस प्रोवाइडर सर्विस रिक्वेस्टर कैन बी यू एंड मी और इट कैन बी अनदर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. ठीक है, एंड सर्विस रजिस्ट्री क्या होता है कि जो सर्विस जो रिपोजिटरी होता है, जो एडवर्टाइज का बात हमने थोड़ी देर पहले किया था, दैट बिकम्स the registry where all the offered services interfaces are registered. Right? So SOA, the second point is very important. SOA defines three roles for agents. One is service provider, the second is service requester, and the third is service registry. And there are three operations. One is publish, find, and bind. Publish is that there is service provider जो owner है, he publishes the interface in the service registry, and find is one where the service requester looks for the service. It approaches the service requester to find the desired service, and once it is found, then the requester and the provider are connected through bind process or bind operation. So इस तरह सर्विस ओरिएंटेड आर्किटेक्चर में तीन ऑपरेशंस होते हैं, पब्लिश, फाइंड एंड बाइंड. पब्लिश कौन करता है? सर्विस प्रोवाइडर करता है. फाइंड कौन करता है? सर्विस रिक्वेस्टर. एंड बाइंड उसके बाद में होता है बिटवीन द प्रोवाइडर एंड रिक्वेस्टर. राइट? सो वेब सर्विसेज इज वन अप्रोच टू इम्प्लीमेंटिंग सर्विस ओरिएंटेड आर्किटेक्चर, एंड वेब सर्विस बेस्ड सर्विस ओरिएंटेड आर्किटेक्चर produce a loosely coupled and flexible applications. Right? You please explore the meaning of loosely coupled. Loosely coupled is nothing but the distributed system. Okay? इसको थोड़ा और explore करो. What is loosely coupled system? So, web service is a software application that uses XML to exchange data with other applications on other computers, right? And features of web services are they operate over any network to achieve specific tasks, and the tasks are performed by a web service or the methods or functions. जैसे हमने शुरू में भी कहा है, they are nothing but the web services are nothing but the methods or functions that other functions invoke and use through the defined interfaces. And these web service request responses can be sent, received between two different applications on different computers belonging to different businesses. मतलब कि अलग अलग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का अलग अलग जो सर्विसेज इम्प्लीमेंट हुए हैं उनको हम रिक्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं, उनसे हम रेस्पॉन्स ले सकते हैं ओवर द नेटवर्क. So a web service is an application component or it is an object, application object, which is accessible over open protocol. ठीक है, open protocol means HTTP standard protocol. जैसे कोरबा और डीकॉम ये सबको बताया, they were not open protocols. Okay, that's why they were very restrictive. But now web service is an application component or object which is accessible over open protocols, right? Then how it is implemented, as we said, that look at the diagram, the web service written in C and the other side web service written in Java, right? And they are implemented in IIS server and BEA web logic server, but still one web service is able to invoke the web service written in another technology over network. So the standards used by web services are defined with the legal consent for the underlying implementation mechanism, and therefore a web service written in C and running on Microsoft IIS can access a web service written in Java. This is what is the interoperability between the distributed objects in over a web. So interoperability, underline the word interoperability, reusability. Interoperability, reusability are the key motivations for web service implementation, right? Interoperability and reusability of these software functions or these distributed objects implemented as web services over the web are the major motivations for the service-oriented architecture. Clear, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So motivation that you will read, and DCOM, Korva, we have already discussed. So what is interoperability? Earlier distributed systems suffered from interoperability issues because each vendor implemented its own on-wire format for distributed object messaging. उसके चलते क्या हो रहा था कि एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो अपना सर्विस लिखा, फंक्शन लिखा होगा, दूसरा ये फंक्शन को एक्सेस करने के लिए या तो खुद को लिखना पड़ता था या फिर जो इम्प्लीमेंट किया है उससे लिखवाना पड़ता था, which was very cumbersome. ठीक है, मतलब कि मुझे अगर किसी का सर्विस एक्सेस करना होगा तो या तो मुझे हेड ब्रेक करना पड़ेगा कि कैसे उसको एक्सेस करूं, या मैं जिसका एक्सेस कर रहा हूं उसको बोले कि भाई तू मेरे लिए एक्सेस इंटरफेस लिख दे. That was never going to happen. That never happened, right? So to remove this kind of difficulties, तो ये ऑन-वेयर फॉर्मेट जो था इसको हटा दिया गया. So development of the earlier DCOM distributed component object model apps were strictly bound to Windows operating system, या तो platform operating system को बंधा हुआ था या फिर कोई protocol से बंधा हुआ था. ठीक है. Another example is development of RMI, remote method invocation. RMI means remote method invocation was bound to Java programming language. तो इस तरह मतलब flexible नहीं था ये सारे techniques. So इसके चलते क्या होता कि interoperability was not an easy job. Interoperability among the distributed objects was not an easy job, right? Similarly, firewall traversals के लिए भी दिक्कत होता था DCOM and Korva model. Complexity बहुत ज़्यादा होता था, because each of these technologies were using their own expertise, and one implementing in that implementing these technologies या using these technologies had to know in and out about these technologies, so उसको सीखना पड़ता था, ये सब बहुत सारे दिक्कत होता है, राइट? क्योंकि अगर कंपोनेंट ऑब्जेक्ट मॉडल को अगर मुझे इंप्लीमेंट करना है तो कंपोनेंट्स कॉम को मुझे सीखना है, कॉम टेक्नोलॉजी को पूरा सीखना है, कोरबा टेक्नोलॉजी को पूरा सीखना है, आरएमआई टेक्नोलॉजी को पूरा सीखना है, उसका सर्विसेज करना है तो सो दैट वाज अ मेजर डिफिकल्टी. सो इट वाज मोर, द प्रोसीजर वाज मोर कॉम्प्लेक्स इन एक्सेसिंग द डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड ऑब्जेक्ट्स. So web services provided a different experience on accessing these distributed objects altogether, right? So it's an application component that communicates via open protocols. तो इसीलिए कोई proprietary protocols का बात रहा ही नहीं. तो HTTP, SMTP, all are, I mean, they are open protocols. So processes XML messages framed using simple object access protocol, describes its messages using XML schema, provides an endpoint description language using WSDL. WSDL stands for Web Service Description Language, जो कि आपका इंटरफेस को डिफाइन करता है. अगर एक सर्विस या फंक्शनलिटी आपने लिखा तो उस फंक्शनलिटी को दूसरा फंक्शन किस तरह एक्सेस करेगा, किस तरह यूज करेगा, राइट? उसको हम कहते हैं एंड पॉइंट डिस्क्रिप्शन. मतलब वो सर्विस को हम किस तरह डिस्क्राइब करेंगे ओवर वेब. समझ में? आपने अगर एक सर्विस लिखा, आपने एक प्रोसीजर लिखा जिसको सर्विस की तरह होस्ट करना चाहते हैं, तो उसको आप किस तरह डिस्क्राइब करेंगे सो दैट कि उस डिस्क्रिप्शन को दूसरा प्रोसीजर समझ सके. समझ पा रहे बच्चों? आर यू गेटिंग स्टूडेंट्स?
सर एक बार रिपीट कर दीजिए.
See, when you write a service or a procedure, ठीक है, तो आप दूसरों को कैसे बताओगे कि आपने जो लिखा हुआ प्रोसीजर वो किस तरह डिस्क्राइब करना चाहते हो आप, जो कि यूजेबल हो. समझ पर? क्योंकि मशीन टू मशीन इंटरेक्शन होगा ना. There will be no human being in between to understand the service offered by you. So there has to be a description of the service provided by you in the web, and उस description को लिखने के लिए हम use करेंगे Web Service Description Language, WSDL. So WSDL is a language that will be used to describe the service of the service. That's what we say, that endpoint description. क्लियर हुआ?
यस सर.
एंड ये सारे जितने, हाँ बोलो बच्चों, समझ में आया? स्टूडेंट समझ में आया?
यस सर.
यस सर.
अब आप ये जो डिस्क्राइब करोगे WSDL यूज करके एक सर्विस को, वो कहाँ पे पब्लिश करोगे? उसको आप पब्लिश करोगे UDDI में. ठीक है, एक डायरेक्टरी है जहां पे आप लोग पब्लिश करोगे. तो जो सर्विस रिक्वेस्टर होगा वो कहाँ ढूंढेगा? UDDI में ढूंढेगा. UDDI में ढूंढने के बाद उसको क्या मिलेगा? WSDL मिलेगा. आप देखो पहले जो हम पढ़े थे, यहाँ पे जो देखे थे ना, ये वाले पे, यहाँ पे देखो, पब्लिश, फाइंड एंड बाइंड. तो मतलब आपने एक सर्विस लिखा और उसका WSDL लिखा, लिख के आपने पब्लिश किया. कहाँ पब्लिश किया? डायरेक्टरी में, UDDI में आपने पब्लिश किया. फिर रिक्वेस्टर क्या करेगा? UDDI में ढूंढेगा. ठीक है, ढूंढने के बाद उसको क्या मिलेगा? WSDL मिलेगा उस पर्टिकुलर सर्विस के लिए. फिर उस WSDL को यूज करके वो अपने आप को सर्विस के साथ बाइंड करेगा. समझ गए? How publish, find and binding is done. Is it clear now? Students, is it clear? So XML is a uniform data representation and exchange mechanism between the distributed objects, and simple object access protocol is a standard way for communication, and this UDDI is a directory service which provides the description of the service and how these descriptions can be discovered and integration specifications of the web service, and WSDL is a standard meta language to describe the services offered. तो ये चार कंपोनेंट जो है बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट कंपोनेंट है. सो सारी चीजें जो हमने अभी बात की उनका एक consolidated way में through an example it is described that the buyer, which might be a simple client, is ordering goods from a seller service, जैसा आप लोग Amazon से करते हो या Flipkart, Snapdeal, XYZ से करते हो. The buyer finds the seller service by searching the UDDI directory. The seller service is a web service whose interface is defined using WSDL. Okay. And the buyer is invoking the order method using simple object access protocol and WSDL definition for the seller service. Then the invocation begins and the set of services behind that is completed. तो इसके ऊपर स्टूडेंट्स, इसके ऊपर मैंने आपके साथ एक लिंक शेयर करूंगा which says that all the sellers need to migrate to this web service model if they have to sustain. तो Amazon का माने जो next generation e-commerce platform है, how it is forcing all the stakeholders to move to this web services platform, service oriented architecture platform. मैं आपके साथ एक लिंक शेयर करूंगा इस क्लास के बाद, आप उसको पढ़ो. उसमें लिखा गया है कि what is going to be the next generation e-commerce platform. ठीक? So ये ऑलरेडी हम डिस्कस कर चुके हैं. दिस वेब सर्विस मॉडल में एक प्रोवाइडर होता है, एक रजिस्ट्री रिक्वेस्टर होता है, एंड प्रोवाइडर जो होता है पब्लिश करता है अपने ऑपरेशंस को, रिक्वेस्टर जो होता है वो ऑपरेशंस को फाइंड आउट करता है, एंड फाइंड आउट करने के बाद सर्विस प्रोवाइडर के साथ बाइंड करता है अपने आप को. You see pictorially it looks like this. So look at the left side, left bottom, the service provider having defined the service and the WSDL for it or the interface for it, publishes. The step one is publishes with the web server service registry, which is nothing but UDDI. Okay, stop here. So all the web service providers have registered. Okay, and the other side, right bottom side, the web service client, जो कि एक पर्टिकुलर वेब सर्विस को एक्सेस करना चाहता है, उसको रिक्वेस्ट भेजता है, दैट इज फाइंड. एक बार फाइंड आउट होता है, उसके बाद उसको यूज करते हुए वेब सर्विस एंड सर्विस रिक्वेस्टर एंड और क्लाइंट एंड प्रोवाइडर के बीच में बाइंड सेशन चालू हो जाते हैं, एंड दे आर एबल टू इंटरेक्ट विद ईच अदर. आप इस डायग्राम को, ये ट्राइंगल को आप जो अमेज़न में जो शॉपिंग करते हो उसमें देखो, मेक माई ट्रिप में बुकिंग करते हो उसके एंगल से देखो, आप जितना भी सब ऑनलाइन एक्टिविटीज कर रहे हो उसको इस एंगल से देखो. सो दिस इज ए स्टैंडर्ड मॉडल which can be seen, visualized and connected to the day-to-day यूज ऑफ ई कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म। ठीक है, आप देखो आपको ये मिलेगा कि आप ई कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म जितना यूज कर रहे हो या बाकी जितने सारे डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड एप्लीकेशंस आप यूज कर रहे हो वो सारे ले देकर इस वेब सर्विस मॉडल से बंधा हुआ है, इसी मॉडल के आधार पर बना हुआ है। Another diagram. On the left side, if you see that the service provider, let's suppose, is a Amazon e-commerce platform, अगर उसका हम मानते हैं। On the other side, client, तो आप उसका क्या सर्विस यूज करते हो? शू ढूंढना होगा तो आप शू के लिए फिल्टर लगाते हो एंड इट यूजेस द फिल्टरिंग सर्विस जो कि ऑलरेडी सर्विस रिपोजिटरी में प्रोवाइडेड है अमेजन का। तो ये जो फिल्टरिंग सर्विस है ये अमेजन फिल्टरिंग एंड डिस्प्लेइंग सर्विस अमेजन ने डेवलप किया है, तो ये अमेजन के कॉन्टेक्स्ट बिहाफ में रहेगा। एंड आप अगर उस शू के अंदर, फुटवेयर के अंदर आप अगर एडिडास का देखो, नाइकी का देखो, तो एडिडास अपना सर्विस फंक्शनलिटी सर्विस रिपोजिटरी में रखा होगा, नाइकी अपना सर्विस रिपोजिटरी पर रखा होगा वेब सर्विस। तो ये जो अमेजन होगा ये इन सबका सर्विस लेकर क्लाइंट को प्रोवाइड करता है। सो द होल सेट ऑफ interactions between client and Amazon or client and Amazon is possible through a set of services provided by both Amazon and the services provided by the individual sellers. समझ में? So this is an example. You can have many such examples to understand the web service model in real time. Right, students?
Yes, sir.
So we will stop here and next class we will continue. Okay, any questions?
हेलो सर। हेलो
Yes, student, please.
सर, एक डाउट है सर, इसमें आप वेब सर्विस के बारे में जो बताए थे कि ये सोप और XML के मतलब दोनों के इंटरेक्शन से हो रहा है, तो सर ये HTTP वाले प्रोटोकॉल पे भी तो हो सकता है ना?
HTTP से ही हो रहा है ये।
मतलब सोप उसके ओवर कर रहा है ना सर?
Yes, ये आप देखो, ये वाला देखो HTTP, देखो सोप रिक्वेस्ट कैसे जाता है, देखो यहाँ पे देखोगे सोप एनवलप, एक एनवलप लिखते हैं हम जिसको कि आइडेंटिफाई करने के लिए एक XML है, सोप मैसेज है ये, ठीक है। ये HTTP पे ही जाएगा, HTTP पोस्ट मेथड से ही जाएगा ये, देखो।
ओके सर।
और रेस्पॉन्स जो आएगा सोप ये भी HTTP पे आएगा, ठीक है।
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
राइट, थैंक यू स्टूडेंट्स।
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
राइट, वेलकम।
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
या बाय।